Let's think about routing for a moment. Inside each SIP request there are 3 addresses that are used for routing. Now, what are they? Have a think and press play when you're ready, and we'll compare notes. The routable addresses, there's the request URI, the contact address, and the via address. Remember, the to, from, and call ID headers are for reference only and are never used for routing. Now, the request URI contains the address to which this request will be routed, and the via header contains the address to which the response to this request should be routed back. But what about the contact address? What's it for and how's it used? The contact address is the address to which subsequent requests should be routed. During this lesson, we'll look in detail at the purpose of the contact header and how it's used for routing subsequent requests. Firstly, what do we mean by initial and subsequent requests? An initial request is the first request in a call or a session. Initial requests always have a new call ID not seen before. A subsequent request, on the other hand, is simply any request in a call or session that follows the initial request. It will, of course, have the same call ID as the initial request. So, routing subsequent requests. Before sending the initial invite, the user agent client includes in the request his own contact address, stating, "This is where I am, in case you'd like to send me subsequent requests. Send them here to my contact address." On the other side, the downstream user agent server sets aside some internal memory space and stores in it the caller's contact address, just in case he wants to send subsequent requests later in the call. Now, this memory space is known as the route set. Note that each call has its own unique route set for storing this caller's contact address. Before sending the initial request, the upstream user agent client also adds his address as a via header, telling the downstream device where he should send back his responses. Accordingly, the user agent server obliges and routes his response back to the address in the via header. But before sending, it also adds a contact address of its own, telling the upstream client this time, "This is where I am. This is the address to which you should send any subsequent requests back to me." On the other side, now it's the turn of the upstream user agent client to form a route set and store in it the contact address of the callee. Then, with both route sets populated with the other guy's contact address, when either user agent needs to send a subsequent request, like the ACK for example, it's routed to the address stored in the route set. Perhaps later, after the call's established, the callee might want to send the buy, where to the address stored in his route set. Subsequent requests are routed to contact addresses stored in route sets. Just to be clear, as it's easy to confuse things, the via header tells the other guy where to send responses, whereas the contact address tells the other guy where to route subsequent requests. They're not the same and not to be confused. You might ask, why do we have 2 headers that contain the same address? Why not have just one header for routing both responses and subsequent requests? Well, it's a good question and it has a good answer, but an answer we'll come back to later when we've learned a bit more about routing responses. For now, the key things to remember are an initial request begins a new call, and all requests that follow the initial requests are subsequent requests. The upstream user agent client includes his contact address in the initial invite expressly to tell the downstream user agent server where to send subsequent requests back upstream. The downstream user agent server then stores the user agent client's contact address in his route set. The downstream user agent server also includes his contact address in his final response expressly to tell the upstream user agent client where to send subsequent requests back downstream. The user agent client then stores the user agent server's contact address in his root set. Remember, don't confuse the via header with the contact header, even if at first they contain the same address. Via addresses are used for routing responses. Contact addresses are used for routing subsequent requests.